What makes a song truly immortal? Not just a hit, not just number one, but the kind of record that plays at your grandmother's birthday, your cousin's wedding, the barbecue that turned into a full-blown block party at midnight. These 10 songs didn't just top the charts, they rewrote them. They broke records that had stood for decades. They became the soundtrack to entire generations. What's going on? By the time we reach number one, you'll understand exactly why R&B didn't just create great music, it created history. Let's get into it. Number 10, Let's Stay Together. Al Green, 1971. And we're starting in Memphis. It was late 1971. Producer Willie Mitchell was in Royal Recording Studio just noodling on some chords. Drummer Al Jackson Jr. was keeping the groove beside him. Ooh, loving you forever. Al Green walked in, heard what was playing, asked about it, and Mitchell shrugged. Just messing around, he said. Since we've been together. Green disappeared for 15 minutes. He came back with the complete lyrics to Let's Stay Together, just like that. But here's what most people don't know. Green hated his own voice on the track. He kept demanding retake after retake, convinced it was too thin, too soft, too delicate. Producer Mitchell had to beg him to stop pushing. Don't try to handle the song, Al. Just let it ooze out. Ooh, baby. When Green finally surrendered to the whisper, that's when the magic happened. The song hit number one on both the Billboard Hot 100 and the R&B chart, staying at the top of R&B for 9 weeks and becoming the number one R&B song of the entire year, 1972. Never do that to me. Rolling Stone ranked it among the 60 greatest songs of all time. The Library of Congress added it to the National Recording Registry in 2010. And turn around and make up. Yeah. And in 2012, President Barack Obama stepped on stage at the Apollo Theater, where Al Green had just performed as the opener and sang the opening lines of this song to the crowd, completely unscripted. That's what this song does. It makes even presidents forget their composure. Notice how the organ floats underneath like a warm current and the horns never once rush. Mitchell built it to sound like the instruments were talking to each other, and they are. Number 9, Respect. Aretha Franklin, 1967. Otis Redding wrote Respect in 1965 as a man coming home from a hard day's work, asking his woman for a little peace and quiet. It charted at number 4 on R&B. Modest, decent, forgettable. Then Aretha Franklin got hold of it. Valentine's Day, 1967. Aretha walked into a New York City studio with a plan already fully formed in her head. She sat at the piano with her sister Carolyn. Together they flipped the song entirely. Man's plea becomes woman's demand. They added the call and response with the backup singers. They came up with the "sock it to me" line right there in that session. And then Carolyn had one more idea. Spell it out. R-E-S-P-E-C-T. The engineer in the room, Tom Dowd, had actually recorded Otis Redding's original version years before. He heard Aretha start singing and said, "Ah, I know that song." But what he was hearing was something else entirely, a completely different song wearing the same title. The record hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and the R&B chart in 1967. Rolling Stone ranked it one of the top 5 greatest songs ever recorded. It became the anthem of the civil rights movement, the women's liberation movement, and every single person who ever had to demand what they were owed. Here's the gut punch. For roughly 7 million radio plays, Aretha received 0 royalties. Copyright law paid the writers, not the performer. The woman who turned a modest hit into a national anthem walked away with nothing. She demanded respect in the song. The industry couldn't even give her that.
Listen, 90% of you watching right now aren't subscribed yet. If these stories are blowing your mind, imagine what you're missing. Hit subscribe, turn on that bell, and join the 200,000 R&B fans who never miss a Groove Lens upload.
Number 7. Billie Jean, Michael Jackson, 1983. Michael Jackson was riding in his Rolls-Royce on the Ventura Freeway when the melody hit him so hard he didn't notice his car had caught fire. A kid on a motorcycle pulled up alongside him and yelled, "Your car is on fire." Jackson said later he was so deep inside the song he barely registered the danger. Billie Jean was inspired by the groupie culture he and his brothers experienced on tour. Women who would show up at stage doors claiming to carry their children. Jackson always insisted there was no real Billie Jean. She was a composite, a ghost, a paranoia made flesh. Producer Quincy Jones wanted to cut the opening bass line entirely. Too long, he said. Jackson flat out refused. That's what makes me want to dance. And when Michael Jackson says something makes him want to dance, you don't argue. The song hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in March 1983, staying for 7 weeks and 9 weeks on the R&B chart. It won 2 Grammys, Best R&B Song and Best R&B Male Vocal Performance. But the real story is MTV. The network refused to air the video, claiming black artists didn't fit their format. CBS Record threatened to pull every video off the channel. MTV backed down. After Billie Jean hit heavy rotation, Thriller sold 10 million additional copies. Then on May 16, 1983, 47 million people watched Jackson perform it on Motown 25. He slid backwards across the stage for the very first time in public. The moonwalk was born. Pop music was never the same. Number 6, Lean on Me, Bill Withers, 1972. Bill Withers was 32 years old before he ever recorded a song. 9 years in the Navy, years working factories, making airplane parts at Douglas Aircraft, at IBM, at Ford by day, and chasing music by night.
We know that there
He didn't get signed until most people would have already quit.
some
When he finally made his second album, he could afford one new thing, a little Wurlitzer electric piano.
lean on me.
He sat down one day, ran his fingers up and down the keys in the simplest possible way, and something from back home came flooding in.
I'll help you carry on.
Withers grew up in Slab Fork, West Virginia, a coal mining town of barely 200 people, a place where neighbors actually showed up when you needed them.
Lean on.
He had moved to Los Angeles by then, and Los Angeles was the opposite of everything he remembered.
Won't let show why
Lean on Me came straight out of that homesickness, out of missing a place where people weren't afraid of each other.
you love your needs. That you
The song hit #1 on both the Billboard Hot 100 and the Soul chart in July 1972, holding the top spot for 3 weeks.
lean on. I just might have a problem.
The original recording was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame in 2007. Then in 1987, Club Nouveau covered it with a go-go beat, and it hit #1 all over again,
It won't be long till I'm
making Lean on Me one of only 9 songs in history to top the Hot 100 as recorded by 2 completely different artists.
gone, and I'll be your friend.
Withers won a Grammy as the writer for that cover. He passed away in 2020. But Slab Fork never really left him, and he never left us.
We all need somebody to
Number 5, I Will Always Love You, Whitney Houston, 1992. This isn't just a great R&B song. This is the most commercially successful single ever recorded by a female artist.
Only being your way.
Full stop. Dolly Parton wrote it in 1973 as a farewell to her mentor, Porter Wagoner. It was tender. It was country. It peaked at #1 on the country charts and was never meant for anything beyond that. Then Kevin Costner suggested it to Whitney Houston for The Bodyguard. The song she'd originally planned, Jimmy Ruffin's What Becomes of the Broken Hearted, had already been used in another film. Costner made the call. Houston was hesitant. She thought it was too slow, too quiet, too gentle. Then she got in the studio. Producer David Foster stripped everything back to near silence, and Whitney opened her mouth. So the song hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 on November 28, 1992.
Memories.
It stayed there for 14 consecutive weeks, breaking Boy's 2 men's record, which had just broken Elvis's record. It was simultaneously #1 on the Hot 100, the R&B chart, and adult contemporary for 5 straight weeks.
You need
A record not matched since Ray Charles in 1962. The song topped the charts in 34 countries, sold over 24 million copies worldwide, certified diamond by the RIAA. The music video became the first 20th century video by a solo act to reach 1 billion YouTube views. It won 2 Grammys, including Record of the Year. Dolly Parton later joked that Whitney's version made her enough money to buy Graceland. She was only half joking. That key change in the final section has been stopping people cold for over 30 years. It doesn't just lift the melody, it lifts you. Number 4, My Girl, The Temptations, 1964.
On a cloudy day.
And we're going back to Detroit. Berry Gordy told Smokey Robinson to get some hits on The Temptations.
I've got sunshine.
Smokey went to work. He'd heard a background singer in the group with a voice he described as a sleeping giant, mellow, gruff, and demanding. His name was David Ruffin.
I've got a sweeter song.
Smokey sat down at the piano and wrote a song built specifically for that voice. Something that would let Ruffin belt, but still feel warm and sweet.
What can make me feel this way?
He co-wrote it with fellow Miracle Ronald White, both men drawing from the feeling of being in love with their own wives. He could have kept it for the Miracles. He gave it away because at Motown, a hit for a label family member felt just as good as one for yourself. The Temptations rehearsed My Girl in the Apollo Theater dressing room between shows every single day on that tour. When Berry Gordy heard the finished track, he called Smokey into his office and handed him a $1,000 producer's bonus before the song had even charted. It's not number 1 yet, Gordy told him, but it's most definitely going there. He was right.
Much honey, the bees and
My Girl hit number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in February 1965, The Temptations' first chart topper, and the first time Motown had ever taken a male vocal group to the top of the pop chart. It stayed on R&B for 6 weeks. The Library of Congress added it to the National Recording Registry in 2017. And that opening guitar riff, those 2 rising notes the entire world recognizes, was improvised right in the studio by session guitarist Robert White. No plan, just instinct. 60 years later, it still stops the room. Number 3, When a Man Loves a Woman. Percy Sledge, 1966. Percy Sledge was a hospital orderly from Layton, Alabama, who sang on weekends. One night, in late 1965, his girlfriend left him. He was also out of work. He stood in front of his band that Friday, too heartbroken to perform his regular set, and told them to just play something slow and bluesy while he improvised. What came out of his mouth that night became the song. A local DJ named Quinn Ivy was in the crowd. He told Percy, clean it up, reverse the title, record it. Percy had called it Why Did You Leave Me, Baby? He changed it to When a Man Loves a Woman. Here's the detail almost nobody knows. When the recording reached Atlantic Records, label boss Jerry Wexler noticed both Percy and the horns were out of tune.
She said that's the way it ought to be.
He asked them to re-record it. They did, but through a mix-up, the original off-key version was the one that got released. Nobody cared. It went straight to number 1. hitting the top of both the Billboard Hot 100 and the R&B chart in 1966. It was the first Atlantic record single ever certified gold, the first #1 record to ever come out of Muscle Shoals, Alabama. Because of Percy's Sledge, Atlantic started sending artists to Alabama to record.
He's the last one to know.
One of them was Aretha Franklin. She went to Muscle Shoals and came back as the Queen of Soul. Percy gave away his songwriting credits and called it the biggest mistake of his life. But his voice on that record belongs to the tape forever. Number 2, I Heard It Through the Grapevine, Marvin Gaye, 1968. A song that almost never came out. I Heard It Through the Grapevine was written in 1966. Smokey Robinson passed on it. Gladys Knight and the Pips recorded it first and had a solid hit with it in 1967.
The two of us, guys, you know I love you more.
Then Berry Gordy heard Marvin Gaye's version and shelved it. Didn't fit his image, Gordy decided. It sat in a vault, unreleased, for over a year. Then Motown buried it on an album almost as an afterthought. Radio stations started playing it anyway. The reaction was immediate and overwhelming. Within weeks, Motown had no choice but to release it as a standalone single. It hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in December 1968 and stayed for 7 weeks. It hit #1 on the R&B chart. It became the biggest-selling Motown single of all time. #1 in the UK, or #1 across Europe, and the best-selling single of 1968 in multiple countries. That opening piano figure, that bass riff that crawls under your skin from the very first note, that rhythm section circling something dark, getting closer with every bar. Gaye's vocal doesn't just sing the lyric, he interrogates it. He doesn't know what's true, he doesn't know who's lying, he just knows something is deeply wrong. And 5 decades later, neither do we. That's exactly why we keep pressing play. Guinness World Records lists it among the most played songs in history. Berry Gordy, the man who shelved it, eventually called it one of the most important records Motown ever released. He was right. He was just late. #1, What's Going On? Marvin Gaye, 1971. In 2020, Rolling Stone asked musicians, not critics, not executives, just the artists themselves, to vote on the greatest songs of all time.
Brother, brother, brother.
One song rose above everything, above the Beatles, above Elvis, above Bob Dylan, above every artist who had ever been called the greatest.
Some loving here today.
Marvin Gaye's What's Going On? Berry Gordy, the founder of Motown, called it the worst record I've ever heard in my life and flat out refused to release it. A Motown executive quietly slipped it to radio stations while Gordy was on vacation in the Bahamas. It sold 100,000 copies in the first week before Gordy even knew it was out. The the song hit #1 on the R&B chart and stayed there for 5 weeks. The album became Motown's best-selling of all time.
Me with brutality.
The Library of Congress preserved it in the National Recording Registry. Rolling Stone eventually ranked it the greatest song in the history of recorded music. But the chart positions are not the point. The point is this: over 50 years later, you can put this song on and it sounds like it was recorded yesterday.
Simply calls out every
War, poverty, injustice. A soldier coming home and finding that the country he fought for is still fighting against its own people. Marvin Gaye didn't write a hit. He wrote a mirror. Every generation since 1971 has looked into it and seen themselves staring back.
what's going on.
That's what makes a song immortal. Not the weeks at #1, not the awards. It's the fact that the world keeps giving it new reasons to be relevant. And this one never runs out.
All right.
These 10 songs didn't just play on the radio. They played at the exact moments that mattered. The breakups, the weddings, the drives when you needed to cry but couldn't, the Sunday morning kitchens when everything felt right. That's what R&B does. That's what it has always done. Hit subscribe and drop us in the comments. Which one hits you the hardest, and which one do you think should have been higher?